Hey, what's up guys? In this Genshin Impact video, I'm going to talk to you about how to use Heizou, the 4-star Anemo DPS slash support, specifically how to use his punch to make it hit harder. If you're new here, please sub to the channel, and after the video is over, head on over to my channel and check out some of my other Genshin Impact content. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, so to get Heizou to hit hard with his punch, you have to understand how it works. Now, at first, for me, it seemed like a lot of rocket science, and when I first started punching with him, I didn't do very good damage at all. I think I was stuck doing no more than like 30k on the Cryo Regis Vine, with buffs and characters and everything. But after playing with him for a few hours and hours and hours on end, and hearing info from multiple different sources, I finally realized that the character is as basic as he looks on the outside. Now, I don't mean basic in like a bad way, I mean he's just really simple to use and his ability is fairly straightforward. The long and short of it is, he has to have 4 stacks on his indicator, which lets you know that he has a super punch ready to go. You can force a super punch by holding the skill down, but unless you have a shield, you're probably going to get interrupted, so I don't really recommend doing that, but it's super easy to get stacks. All you have to do is create a swirl. Now, when they created Heizou, I'm sure they had stack creation at the top of their priorities for this character, because all you literally have to do is interact with another element and use his hold attack. His hold attack makes him do a punch and then a flip kick, and that creates a swirl. So if you have another character in your party that has an elemental skill or burst that lingers after they're off the field, like Xingqiu with his water swords burst or Kuki's sanctifying ring elemental skill, you can easily create a swirl using these elements. Now, what's really cool about C1 Heizou is that he gets a free stack just by taking the field, making it easier to gain 4 stacks. You can even gain a stack by using the element of an enemy. Let's say you're fighting a group and there is something like a torch-wielding hilichurl there. You can kick the hilichurl with the swirl kick and create a swirl using that pyro. You can also gain your 4 stacks on a single target with only one element type if you choose. So basically you can switch to another character, affect your intended target with that character's element, then switch back to Heizou, do a swirl kick, switch back to the other character, rinse and repeat until you have your 4 stacks. Now, once you get 4 stacks, you can let loose with a punch, but chances are that punch is going to be stronger than a stackless punch, but not as strong as it could be if you were using characters to buff your damage. So that's why if you're looking to make that punch hit hard, use characters that have abilities and artifact sets that boost all characters in multiple ways. In my learning team, I use Zhongli, Bennett, and Mona. Now, this team is going to be good for a group ultimate punch, but not so good at gaining stacks. In this team, I use Zhongli because he has an ability attached to his elemental skill that lowers the elemental resistance of targets in a small AoE. Lower elemental resistance means more damage that affected enemies will take, resulting in a bigger number overall. On him, I use the artifact set Tenacity of the Millilith, a set that increases party members' attack by 20% when the user's elemental skill hits an enemy. This effect can be triggered every 0.5 seconds, so basically it's always going to be an option whenever the wearer of this set gets his elemental skill up and ready to go. This is a universal set and can be used on any character to get this effect, and I highly recommend having at least one full set. To get it, you'll need to farm the Ridge Watch domain. Next on this team is Bennett, and I usually keep him with the Noblest set. Bennett's burst along with Noblest allows him to raise all party members' attack a crap ton, and if you didn't know it, the higher your character's attack, the more damage they can potentially do. In Mona, I use the Instructor set. Now, this is a 4-star set that increases all party members' elemental mastery upon triggering an elemental reaction. Higher elemental mastery means more elemental damage. Mona also has an elemental burst that makes it to where any enemy who is hit with it takes increased damage from the next attack they take. So with all of these things combined, using Heizou's punch becomes pretty powerful, but you still won't be able to unlock that power if your Heizou cannot properly wield it. He needs the right artifacts, which after hours of testing, the results of which I made a video on showing you what artifacts you can use with Heizou, I've come to the conclusion that there are multiple sets that Heizou can use and still get a pretty decent punch off. The set that seemed to do the best for me was a 2-piece Viridescent, 2-piece Gladiator with an Anemo Damage Cup, and an Elemental Mastery Sands. Now, because of my artifact substats and the weapon I have for him, I'm able to use a crit damage circlet and still have a pretty decent crit rate while maintaining a very good crit damage score. Now, when it comes to Heizou's burst, it's not going to be as good as the punch can potentially be, but I sort of peeped game with Genshin and realized that they thought ahead to realize that not everyone is going to have everything needed to make Heizou's punch high-key be better than his elemental burst, so that's why you can combo them both. Now, the way the elemental burst description reads, when you kick targets with it, the other members of your party, except Heizou, of course, get a boost to their elemental mastery, so that tells me that he was meant to punch first and then kick second, and then your main damage dealer can do what they do better. But the main thing is that as a side DPS who can use his elemental burst to increase the damage of your other characters, he can deal at least 30k damage with the most basic of punches and then belt out another 40 or 50k with his kick. So no matter what, anyone using him at level 90 with at least level 7 talents for burst and skill will be able to do around 100k damage with this character. My Heizou at present is maxed constellation and his talents are 7, 11, and 11. His constellations are actually very decent and super worth it in my opinion. I was actually pulling to get a C6 Kazuha and I ended up getting both of them at C6, and I can tell you with 100% honesty that Heizou is a completely different character at C6. He hits way harder, like a lot harder with his punch, and honestly I can't tell if I like using him or Kazuha more. Now, in terms of damage potential, I might be faded or just not well learned, but my C6 Heizou hits harder than my C6 Kazuha, and my Heizou is using a level 80 5-star Catalyst, whereas Kazuha is using a level 90 5-star sword, this Freedom Sworn. Now, even using the Battle Pass Crit Blade, I couldn't get Kazuha's burst anywhere near 100k damage. And versus using Heizou, his damage comes just as easy as the Raiden Shogun. Maybe not as much, but just as easy. So all in all, Heizou is a fantastic character, super easy to use, easier with more constellations, and his punch mechanic is insane for quick damage. Not to mention his animations are like super dope. I hope in the future they do more characters similar to Heizou. Alright, so guys, that's going to be it for me. If you have any questions about this or anything else Genshin Impact related, go ahead and drop those down in the comments. And be sure to check out my other Genshin Impact videos if you like this one. I'd really appreciate it. And I guess I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
I'm going in! Written in the stars.
Bring it on! Cyclone!